We finally got our first proper look at Dragon Ball Daima this week, and the internet's reaction to it is... well, not surprising. Ever since Super ended, it feels like Toei has been holding off on any major mainline Dragon Ball related media outside of the occasional movie. I mean, Broly was 5 years ago. In that time, the manga has finished 2 whole arcs, one of which is held to incredibly high regard by the community, so seeing Toei not adapt any of that material is, well, incredibly puzzling. Not only are they not adapting it, they're going in a completely new direction, and I personally kinda like it. Or at least I'm cautiously optimistic. Hear me out. I found the teaser itself to actually be quite enjoyable. The show, visually, looks stunning. Fantastic backgrounds, clean animation, and a beautiful, beautiful color scheme. On a visual front, this show looks so good, practically because all the industry heavy hitters are working on this. People that have worked on Super, on Broly, on Superhero, just top of the top. I mean, we've got Rumiko Nagai doing color work for this show. This guy has worked on both Broly and Superhero, which I think is a big part as to why these shows looked so good. Because when you look at Super, for example, one of the big problems I've had is that the colors, to me, are just bad. They make everything look super duper plasticky, and they're just dreadful to look at. This teaser trailer already looks full of life, and that is honestly helped greatly by the amazing backgrounds and color. Takahashi Kurahashi is the art director. You'll probably know him from his work on the Yo Son Goku OVA, which I think is also a fan favorite. Now, Hiro Shintani did the brilliant character designs for Broly, but this time around he'll be working as a chief animation supervisor alongside some really big names. Taking his place as character designer, we've got Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, who is a huge name in the Dragon Ball world. And not only is he providing the character designs, he's also doing corrections, which means on a visual front, this show is going to be very consistent. Because if the guy that's doing the character designs is doing the corrections, that means every character is going to be on model most of the time, if not all the time. Outside of Shintani, we've got people like Yuya Takahashi, Shikahashi Kubota, Takeo Ide, and Miyaka Tsuji, just to name a few. From a production standpoint, as long as they're given ample time, this will probably end up being the most consistently good-looking Dragon Ball series that we've ever had. We know that the production began near the end of 2021, and I think with a tentative release date of 2024, I could be making this up, I think we can breathe a sigh of relief. To add to that, for the first time in a long time, perhaps ever, Toriyama seems to be incredibly involved with this project. He isn't only providing a script or character designs this time around, he's actually checking individual cuts of animation to make sure that they best match his vision. This is big, not just because of how involved Toriyama is, but also because of how good Toriyama is at drawing action. If you've never read Dragon Ball, first of all, go check it out now, because it is a treat for your eyes, especially when it comes to the action. I mean, your eyes will glide around the pages, and before you even know it, 4 hours have passed and you've read 200 chapters in one sitting. I have no doubt in my mind that the action will be incredibly dynamic and interesting, provided that Toriyama is actually this involved in the show. If I was breathing a sigh of relief after seeing the production time and the staff list, now I can go to bed without much worry. You all know how I feel about Super Saiyan, ballooning of power levels, yada yada, but it does seem like this version of the story will have a bigger focus on actual hand-to-hand combat rather than beam clashes or key spam. On top of that, transformations seem to be completely cut out, or at least capped. I don't know about you, but this is incredible news because, first of all, seeing Goku fight with the power pole, hello? How is this not hype? Hearing that we're gonna get a bigger focus on the martial arts aspect is incredibly exciting. I mean, some of the best fights in Dragon Ball are from, OG Dragon Ball, where there was a big emphasis on the martial art aspect. Seeing Dragon Ball go back to its roots is something that I've been practically praying for. So knowing that my prayers have been answered is actually very exciting, at least for me. I know a lot of people have looked at it and have said, isn't this just going to be GT? And the answer apparently is kind of, but not really. Outside of them being turned to kids, this isn't so much a GT story as it is a JRPG story. What I mean by that is that it seems to be following the kind of storyline, or not storyline, but the adventurous vibe that JRPGs that Toriyama's worked on, like Dragon Quest, instead of maybe something like GT or even stuff that we've seen in Z or Super. It does feel like it's going back to its roots, One of the big draws for me for the original was that it really did feel like Goku was going on this grand adventure, and every little bit was exciting. And I feel like that's been lost over time with, Super and potentially even Z, right? So again, going back to its roots, yada yada. I did put up a poll a few days ago, subscribe by the way. 50% of you answered with why. And I actually get that, because as someone that watched Super start to finish, waiting all these years for it to continue, only to get a new, unrelated series while the mainline series is put on a back burner, well, let's just say that isn't exactly what you want to hear. Not only that, but the tonal shift from Super to Daima is incredibly jarring, and the show is clearly aimed at a younger audience. Because of that, I can see why the majority of not just those who voted on the poll, but other people online feel a similar way. The manga has good material, and Toriyama seems to be happy to be involved with Dragon Ball again, so why not continue with Super? Why do we need an unrelated story when the series that practically revived Dragon Ball is already there? Regardless, this show already has more going for it than Super ever did, from a production standpoint, at least at the beginning. Okay, let's be fair to Super, it did get better as it went on. So for now, until more comes out, I'm optimistic and hopeful for a new era of Dragon Ball, as well as its resurgence. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you excited? And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!